arcs are not that serious. They probably won't be on the test. They probably won't be on the EOC. But the key with overlapping arcs, if they open up to the same arc, so like AD, basically the angles are congruent to each other. Because if it's opening up to the same amount, if this was, once again, let's say this is 80, what would each one of those inscribed angles be? 40, because you're just cutting it in half. So overlapping arcs just mean that they're congruent. So that's not really on the test or the EOC. It's kind of like random, but whatever. Then we talked about inscribed quadrilaterals. Inscribed quadrilaterals was just a review of quadrilaterals. Opposite angles add to make 180. So the new stuff we're doing today are these 5 things. Kind of sounds like a lot. 5 things is a lot, but it's not a lot because the rules are exactly the same basically for each like bottom 3. So the first new thing we're going to talk about is this middle one. This is intersecting chords or secants. So secants is a line that goes through the circle completely. A chord is where it like stops. Don't get tripped up on the vocabulary. It's not that serious. When 2 lines cross inside the circle, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to add, so if I'm finding angle 1, we're going to add the arcs that it actually opens up to. So if I look, angle 1 opens up to AE. 1 is also a vertical angle to this. So it's technically also opening up to C. We're going to take those arcs, we add them, and we divide by 2. So we're going to add, and then we're basically going to divide by 2. So the way you can kind of remember this is that it kind of looks like a plus sign. Not really, but if you would use your imagination, inside the circle, it's crisscrossing. So it's like a plus sign. So when it crisscrosses inside, we're going to add it. Okay. So this is an addition problem. We add the arcs, we divide by 2. If you don't have another side, so if I look at angle 1, I have this big arc that it opens up to. Vertical angles, if this line continued, would be over here. There's no arc over here because it's a tangent line. So there is nothing to add to it because there's nothing on the other side. So this one, we're just going to take the arc and we're going to divide by 2. So that one, we don't even have to add. We're just taking whatever it is. We're dividing by 2 to find the angle. The 3 at the bottom look different, but they're similar to each other. How they're similar is because A is on the outside of every single one of these. So the angle that it's actually making is on the outside. So for all 3 of these, you could try to look at this, but I think it's kind of confusing. All 3 of these, I'm going to try to make like a cute little like bracket thing. Okay, there's my little bracket. We're using the same formula for these 3. What we're going to do is this is opening up to make 2 arcs. We have this arc. I'm going to call this the big arc. Big. So think about it as like the alligator's mouth. It's inside the mouth. We also have a small arc that's inside the mouth. So this is small. The rule is we're not going to add it. We're going to subtract it. So we're going to do big arc minus small arc. Bless you. We're going to put it over 2 because we're still dividing by 2. And that's going to equal the angle on the outside. So we'll say the measure of angle A. So we take the big, we minus the small, we divide by 2. That equals the measure of angle A. So it's the same rule for this one. It just looks a little different. Your big arc is B to D. So this whole thing is big. I'll put a B. What's my small arc? B to C. So you're still doing big minus small, divide by 2. That's going to be equal to the measure of angle A. This one's like yesterday, it's 2 tangent lines. My big arc goes all the way around. B, D, C is the big. What's my small arc for that one?
B to C.
B to C. So B to C is my small. So they all use the same rule. They just look slightly different. So big minus small divide by 2, big minus small divide by 2, big minus small divide by 2. And then it equals to the angle on the outside. So basically we need to decide if they crisscross on the inside, we add it. If they crisscross on the outside, we subtract it. And if it's on the edge of the circle, you're just dividing by 2 to get the angle on the inside. Okay, so There's 3 different rules. We just gotta figure out which one goes with which. So on today's paper, this is numero number 115. Yes. Oh, the bottom. Oh, this part. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's important. That's the formula. Let me leave that for a second. So big minus small divided by 2 equals the actual angle on the outside. So it kind of looks like a bird's nose. So if it's got the nose on the outside of the circle, you subtract. It looks beautiful. Gorgeous. Oh. Yeah, me either. Actually, I just remembered. I like woke up like feeling so sick last night and all night. Like I thought I was gonna throw up. I had Cheez-Its right before I went to bed, and I think that's what happened. So I was like, and I never eat Cheez-Its. They're like my daughters, but I just ate like half a box. And then I like woke up and then I was like awful. And I could like feel the Cheez-It. Like it definitely was the Cheez-It. Okay, anyways. So this one, what we're gonna do, we're gonna add the arcs, we're gonna divide by 2. So our arcs, if I'm talking about angle 1, I'm talking about A to D and B to C. So those are the arcs that one actually opens up to. So we're gonna write the rule just for one of them. Let's just do angle 1. So AD, I'm adding the other arc, which is BC, and I'm dividing by dose for my arc. So for numero uno, I have to find AED. I'm just going to put a little dot there so I know what I'm looking for. AED is right here. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. What's the arc that it opens up to? 45. What's on the other side of that arc? 109. So what am I going to do with them? Add them and divide by 2. Easy peasy. So what do we get for that angle? Nope. 77. Okay. Try number 2. Easy peasy. Make sure you look at what you're looking for. STR. Yeah. When you find the average of something, you add them all up and divide by how many numbers there are. So if it's 2 numbers, you're just adding the 2 and dividing by 2. So what do we get? 149. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Try number 3. Because then we're going to skip 4, 5, 6. Because like this is easy. Because it's going to get harder. Oh, sorry. Yep. So what do we get? No. No.
You have to find top.
Ah, okay, so 62 is part of it. 62 goes here. 62 can also go here because vertical angles are congruent. But if you actually look at what it wants YWX, which is technically not that angle. YWX is right here. So how do I find the angle next to 62? Subtract from 180 because it's a straight line. So technically these two or these two are a linear pair because they form a straight line. So we're going to add to make 180. So if I take 180 minus 62, what do I get? 118. So if it crisscrosses in the center, we're adding, dividing by 2. We're going to move to the next thing. So you just got to like, yeah, we're going to skip those. So cross out those ones. Let's keep moving. So now the next thing is when it's on the edge of the circle. The reason why you can't add 2 things together is because there's nothing on the other side. Okay. So if I find the measure of angle 1, let's cross out 2. So the measure of angle 1, what's the arc? What 2 letters does angle 1 actually open up to? What is it? BA. So BA divided by 2 is going to make the angle 1. You don't have to add anything because vertical angles are congruent, but there's nothing over there because the line stops. So it doesn't continue forever. So there's nothing to add to it. It's just dividing by 2. So if I need to find the measure of DEG, DEG is nice because it's like this one. What am I going to do? Just divide by 2. So I'm taking 308 because that's a whole arc. 308 divided by 2, what do I get? 154. So 154 is this obtuse angle in here. So for number 8, I need to find DBC. DBC is over here. So it technically doesn't open up to the 192. There's 2 different ways to do this. What did you say? I think that's what you said, Tim. Yeah. So a circle makes 360. So I can find this arc by subtracting from 360. So how much is this arc? 168. And then I can divide by 2 to go in. 84. Okay, let's cross out 9. So easy peasy. When it's on the edge, you're just going in, dividing by 2. If you needed to go out, you would just multiply by 2, but they're not going to have you do that. So then the last one is the trickiest because there's a bunch of different problems that look very similar to it, but they're slightly different. But the thing that they all have in common, so this one has the angle on the inside. So we add it, kind of looks like a plus sign. Using your imagination, it kind of looks like plus sign. So we add them because it's on the inside. This one's on the edge. So we just divide by 2. This one, the angles are on the outside. So we're not going to fill in this part. What's our rule for all 3 of these? Big minus small, divide by 2. And technically they're little arcs. So big arc minus small arc equals the measure of angle A, or whatever's on the outside angle. So all of these look like little bird noses. Okay, they all have a little nose on the outside. So the angle's on the outside. So if it's on the outside, we take big arc, we minus small arc, we divide by 2, that equals the angle. Easy peasy. So for 10, what's my big arc? 140, that's my big. What's my small? 66. So I'm going to take big minus small, divide by 2. What is it? Yes. So 37 degrees is technically L, which is on the outside. Look at number 11. 11, you're doing big arc minus small arc, dividing by 2. My big arc is not 88. How can you find big arc? Good. So I can subtract from 360 because I have 62, which is the small. I have this random leftover. So how much is big arc to add to make 360? Well, 210. I think you guys forgot to subtract 62. You got to subtract 88 and 62 because it's a circle as a whole. So big arc is 210, small arc is 62. You're doing big minus small, divide by 2 equals the angle. Yes. Okay, so using that same like kind of thinking process, try 12. Has anybody figured out small arc? 47, good. And then you're doing big minus small divided by 2. Hello. 133. That's correct. Okay, last one for the front. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna cross out the rest besides 13. So 13's last one. Take a second. You gotta find. Yeah, big arc. What's big arc? 67. You're gonna have to find small arc. Then big minus small divided by 2. Mm-hmm. How do we get 19? 19's correct. Beautiful. So because this is a diameter, goes through the center, they gave me the center. That means automatically that side's 180. So the other side's also 180. So you could either subtract from 360 and get 19 for the small, or you could take these two and just subtract from 180, you still get 19. So I'm only using 67 and 19 dividing by 2. So this is a really small angle, very acute. That's what we got. Wonderful. Okay, so these aren't too bad, right? If it crosses on the inside, you add them, divide by 2. If it touches the outside slightly, you just divide by 2. If it's on the outside, you subtract, divide by 2. So let's add some spice. And everything nice. Okay, on the back. What? Why? Yes. Yeah, so everything that we skipped on the front, you can cross out.
Number 9.
Yep. We cross out on the front, we cross out 4, we cross out 5, we cross out 6, we cross out 9, 14, 15, 16, 17. Everything we didn't do, you can cross out. So you're focusing on the back today. On the back, we're going to cross out 4, 6, and 9. So which one looks ugly? 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so let's start with 10. So 10, you need to decide, are we adding, are we subtracting, or are we just dividing? We're just dividing because it's on the edge. So there's nothing to add. We're not subtracting. We're just dividing by 2. So we're going to take a second. And this is the ugly part because you got to put the stuff in the picture. So the measure of angle TSV is 6x plus 17. So that goes here. Arc SV is 15x plus 13. Okay. So I gotta take something, I gotta divide it by 2. Am I taking the angle and dividing by 2, or am I taking the arc and dividing by 2? The arc. So I'm gonna take my arc, I'm gonna put it over 2, and I'm gonna equal it to the angle. So you could do one of 2 things. You can either get rid of the 2 by using multiplication and multiplying both sides by 2 and distributing it, or you could literally divide this by 2. So do you want to divide by 2 or do you want to multiply by 2? Yep, let's divide. So you're going to get decimals, but like it's going to be 0.5s, and in the end it's going to come out nice. So don't stress. If I take 15, I divide by 2. That's 7.5x. It's okay. If I take 13, I divide by 2. What do I get? 6.5. And now it's a normal equation. Even though you're going to have 0.5s in the end, it'll come out nice. So let's subtract 6.5 to both sides. Now I can minus 6 to both sides. Okay, so now in the calculator, we're doing 10.5 divided by 1.5. So what is x? X is 7. Nice. And so that's what I mean. You might get decimals if you divide them, but in the end, they'll come out as whole numbers. So I have to find SUV. So SUV is over here. So if I plug it into the other arc, we could technically subtract that from 360 because the circle makes 360. So if I plug 7 in, 15 times 7 plus 13 gives me how much? 108. 108. 119. 119. 18. So if this is 118, how much is that other arc? 242. Let's do, is 11, 12, or 13 look harder? Anybody have 19? Wait, 13? Okay, let's use 13. I was like 19. So 11, 12, and 13 all have the same rule because they all have the nose. So look at that. It's like, it's got a little nose. Okay. So the nose is on the outside. So are you adding, or are you subtracting, or are you just dividing? Subtracting. So let's put our stuff on our picture first. We have QTS. That's this big piece. Is 16x plus 23. US. 7x plus 15. The angle QRS is 5x minus 3. And I'll worry about where I'm plugging it back in later. Oops. So the rule for whenever you have the angle on the outside is you're going to subtract. It's going to be big arc minus small arc divided by 2 equals the angle on the outside. So we're taking this, we're subtracting this, dividing by 2. So 16x plus 23. And then I'm minusing technically 7x plus 15. And this is where you're going to trip up and you're going to make a mistake. You have to remember, people are going to write it like this and be like, I'm minusing that. Yes. But you have to remember you're minusing both of these terms. So you technically should have like parentheses around this. So that way you remember you're minusing 7x. You're also technically minusing 15 because you're minusing both of those terms. I'm dividing by 2 and it's equal to 5x minus 3. So you could simplify by distributing into the parentheses like a minus sign. You don't need to. You could just remember you're subtracting. So if I do 16 and I'm minus 7, 9x. If I do 23, you have to remember you're minusing 15. So just keep in mind that you're subtracting. Adding doesn't matter because it's adding. Okay, so now I can divide this by 2. Yeah, well, you get a decimal, but it's okay. So 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then it's like a regular multi-step equation. It's going to be a little weird because you get decimals, but it's okay. So I'm going to add 3 because the 3 is a minus. And also the ones we're doing have a lot of work. But that's why we're doing the ones towards the bottom, because they require more work. 5 minus 4.5 is 0.5. And then when I divide by 0.5, 14 because you're technically getting bigger. You're dividing by a fraction, you're dividing by 1/2, so then you have to like multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction. So you have no idea what that means. Some of you might. So it just gets bigger. When you divide by a decimal, it's going to get bigger. It's like, how many 50 cents make $7? 15 cents. Okay, anyway, so X is 14. I define QTS. So 247. The ones you're going to do don't require as much work. And I'll re-explain really quick. So you're taking big arc, you're minusing small arc. So if you were confused why I was doing the minus thing, it's because you're taking 16, you're minusing 7. You're taking 23, you're technically minusing 15. Doing big minus small. The only ones that have that weird step right there is 11 and 12. 11 and 12, you just have to remember you're subtracting. The rest of them are like normal. The rest are not as bad as what we like that problem. You'll be okay. Start with number 1. Are we alive? No. Start with 1. What are you going to do for number 1? They don't equal each other. Number 1, what do we do? Good. You add the arcs. They're going to do 75 plus 55. I'll write it out, I guess. You're adding, you're dividing by 2, and it's equal to the angle. No. So you just need to decide for the problems. Are you adding? Are you subtracting? Or are you just dividing by 2?